For years, Martin Luther McCoy has been one of those rare talents who moves seamlessly between worlds. A gifted musician with deep roots in soul, blues, and rock, he's also graced the screen in major films, bringing his presence to stories that reached millions. Now, he's stepping back into the spotlight with a brand new album, a fresh chapter that promises to showcase the full range of his artistry. On this episode of The Trout Show, we sit down with McCoy to explore his journey, the road that's brought him here, and the music that's still to come.
You ever notice how many financial advisors are out there? Trying to decide which one you want to go to give them your hard-earned money to reach your financial possibilities? It's a difficult decision, but let me help you out. My good friend David Smith with Edward Jones, who, by the way, just earned the #1 ranking among 23 advice-based wealth management firms in the J.D. Power 2026 U.S. Investor Satisfaction Study. David has 20-plus years of working with people just like you, helping you reach your financial possibilities. As a financial advisor for my wife and I, he's done exceptionally well. I wouldn't be recommending him if I didn't think he'd help you reach your financial possibilities. So it's quick, easy. Just make a quick phone call if you're anywhere in the continental United States. Hit 469-372-1587, 469-372-1587. Give David a call and learn how you can reach your financial possibilities. David works for the #1 company in America, and he's #1 with my wife and I. David Smith with Edward Jones, your next financial advisor. 469-372-1587. Give him a call today. Well, let me ask you a question about your Texas situation.
Okay, go for it.
Because here's a guy that I read about, you, that grew up on the West Coast. And what's the one thing I read about, two things I read about you, that it sounds like you're from the South?
Really?
Your grandmother.
Okay.
From Marshall, Texas.
Yep.
And your gospel roots.
Yep.
But you from San Francisco.
I know, it's kind of strange. And it's like, well, who's from San Francisco?
Well, I mean, don't you live in, or you live in the West Coast, don't you?
Yeah, no, I'm from San Francisco.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But
so
the
tell me a
difference
little bit
is
about your grandmother, because a lot of people, obviously, and I've interviewed hundreds of people, and I live in the South. I am from the South. I'm a Texas native.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the people I talk to, especially if they're singers, are going to say the same thing. Where did you get started? In church.
Absolutely. And my story is no different. No, neither is my father's nor his mother before him, because the Southern rearing and the Southern tradition, church is not optional. It is a training ground.
True.
And it is educational curriculum in a school and a pressure tester. You know, it's all these things in one, and there's no real escaping it. So growing up on the West Coast, and my father was not, this is a funny story, was not into church like, okay, when I have children, they're going to go to church. He was about going to work and going to school to get that education. That's where he was focused. Mm-hmm. And the thing about it was, there was a song that said, "Oh, how I love Jesus."
Oh yeah, I know that song.
Oh,
yeah, sure.
Okay.
I grew up in a Southern Baptist church, so I heard that.
So okay. So my older brother came home singing that song that everybody knows, but it was slightly different. He was singing, "Oh, how I love Brother Mosley." Oh, how. And my father caught wind of the song and was like, "Who is Brother Mosley?" So from that day on, he decided that whatever was going on up at church, he needed to go investigate and find out himself. And he shows up. He becomes a part of the church community. He becomes one of the deacons. You know, he gets further ingrained. But it wasn't because my mother had invited him 1,001 times, or because of some other brotherhood that was brewing. He wanted to know exactly who was Brother Mosley that was leaving a positive impression on his son. and Brother Mosley turned out to be, became best of friends. But that's just how my father got back connected to the church. So with regard to being a singer and me in the South, I come to learn that my father was sent in his mother's steed whenever she was unavailable to assist when the community needed. And those assists would be weddings, funerals, graduations, parties, and the like. So as a young person, he told me he didn't have the opportunity to be shy. And that's why this conversation started, because I was shy when I was young. I don't want to sing. I don't want. He was like, you got a gift. And I was like, I don't want the gift. You know what I mean? Leave me alone about it.
Yeah, I got it.
Right. And so I would go back and forth to Texas every summer for probably at least the first 10 or more years of my life.
Well,
So I
was your
wasn't
dad, did he grow up in Texas?
Marshall, Texas.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
And my mother grew up in Galveston.
Ah,
She was in Palestine, Port Arthur, Malakoff, Galveston.
so your roots are Texas roots, my friend.
Absolutely. So I didn't despise it or hate it so much as a youth. I just felt that y'all from Texas and I'm from California, so quit trying to put your Texas thing on me. That's kind of how I felt.
Yeah, I understand
But
that.
they were just like, you'll get over yourself at some point. You know what I mean? Plus, the things that they were trying to prevent me from falling into were very California, were
Oh,
very
yeah.
fast food driven.
Yeah.
And they was like, no, that's not what a real hamburger tastes like. Let me show you. And I'm like, but this ain't pretty. This don't come in the red box. This don't, you know what I mean? The French fries ain't gold. They got brown spots. They just like, you know what? You are from California, right? Because if you don't know what a real potato is and tastes like, and it's no knock on Cali, it's the
No, it's
promotion of marketing things that we were hook, line, and sinker on as children. And my parents was like, stop sign. Calvin Klein ain't no friend of mine. We don't care if his name ain't on your behind. Period. You're gonna wear these jeans that we get you, and you're gonna be happy to have some
Oh,
pants, you
yes,
know?
those are the days. Yes, when
Oh man.
people,
And those were the type of parents. So the South
yeah.
and the rearing and the understanding and the communication and the sharing and the protection, they were serious about that. For
So
sure.
then you came around and said, maybe this isn't such a bad deal at all. And I can tell you what happened
Not
to
at
me.
all. Yeah.
Now, typically I'm interviewing a rock, blues, maybe sometimes pop. And I got your stuff and listened to it. And the one thing that I really read, and I read this about you, and it wasn't from the PR from him, I look at other things too. Here's the point, and I liked what you did immediately, because I don't talk to people in your ilk so much. They're called the R&B stuff, which I really like, was that TV show you went on, I don't know how old it was, it's on YouTube, where you went on and sang with your friend playing bass or the girl playing bass and somebody playing guitar behind you. And you hit some notes that I went, oh my God, you really can sing. Not that I didn't think you did, but that was impromptu. And I went, boy, you are blessed with a wonderful voice.
Mm.
So I think that that's one of the things, and I really enjoy about people like you, and the fact that you're such a diverse talent. I mean, I read them going like, you're in a movie? You mentioned it a while ago. I knew which one you're talking about. Then it's like, you played with the Roots? Okay, wait a minute. You worked with Erica Badu? I'm going, what? So let me tell you something. How do you keep all that straight? Do you just get in the mood one day and I'm going to do this? Or, I mean, you got the new album coming out or it just got released? What if people come up to you and go, Mr. McCoy, what would you tell people about your style? Which I know people hate, but what do you tell people when they ask you, what do you play? What do you do? What's your style?
I'm an artist. I like the fact that I've been blessed with the opportunity to capture moments that can easily glisten or glance by unnoticed. And I've been given the opportunity in my life to catch them. And I can't say that it's any different from anybody else's life. It's just that you have to have the time and the awareness to pick up on these things. And it'll be colors, it'll be presentation, it'll be an aura, It'll be a statement. It'll be a word. It will be these random things, and I collect them. And when I find a way to repurpose or to spin them, as I like to say, or weave, because everything I'm doing, saying, and creating is a production of this weaving of energy. I'm a light weaver. That's what I'm doing. I'm weaving the little embers of light that come across my spirit that I find interesting enough to collect and to repurpose. That happens in music, it happens in fashion, it happens in how I approach setting up my bicycle or fixing an automobile or adorning a guitar or painting on a canvas or, going to a tailor and saying, hey, take out all these seams. We're going to restructure this and da 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 da. Just because of some sort of vision or moment that I'm impressed by. And I go with it. I'm blessed with the vocal gift. And that's something that I'm aware of as a youth. When my voice changed, because I used to sing high, like the New Edition. And I'm like, I'm going to be the next Michael Jackson. That's what I'm thinking. When my voice changes and goes low, I'm dejected completely from music, and I don't even want to have anything to do with it. However, I know I have a gift because I can write songs at an early age, complete songs. I can't write them and tell you the music chords, but I can tell you the notes in each section that'll support the melody. So I can create the entire song for the most part.
Right.
But I'm just thinking that I'm deficient because I don't know theory. And anyway, I continue to write. I still have all these songs. So you can't I don't know how I'm going to make it manifest because I've lost my clarity on why people are going to be paying money to come see me, because I was going to have this high voice and I was going to be doing the dance step and all the things and the turn and the bam and the light. And so when my voice changed, it got all heavy. I was just like, don't nobody want to hear no baritone. Baritone ain't sexy. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
I'm looking at
Barry
it.
White did pretty good. Barry White did.
I mean, it's a bunch of them, but in my mind, I was like, that ain't Prince. That ain't Michael.
That ain't Prince.
And then I realized Prince had such a very low speaking voice.
Yeah.
So then there was a little ember of possibility still in there for me. This is what I'm going through as a kid. But I've taken all these different things that come my way and the way I see it and do it. And I just, I walk to the beat of my own drum for the most part.
This is one thing I liked about you when I saw you. You have a joyfulness in your voice and your singing. And we're missing that in music. People are they want to talk about this. They want to be angry all the time. And when you get out and I was watching your video, and it just makes you feel good. And I wish more people could write songs like that would make you feel good instead of like, I hate this, I don't like that, whatever. That's the Southern thing or the gospel thing coming out to me. That's what comes through you as the messenger saying, hey, I can write a song that's going to make you feel good. I'm uplifting.
Yeah.
We're missing that.
We are. And Welcome Back, Love as a title is not coincidental. What you're saying and picking up on and what's resonating is not just happenstantial as much as it is intentional. With regard to what I write and create, I write a variety of things, but I want to elicit a spirit from the audience member and from the listener to my music, something that is connected to uplift and with healing, and like a salve, but a musical version. And there are other things that I could do and will do and have done that are not so uplifting. They're going to be created with a certain penchant for detail and hopefully amazingness. However, not everything is going to be up full and bright. No. But when I know that I'm doing a song that is intending to connect the corner street brother who has lost his way, I can't preach to him. I mean, I could, but
they're not going to hear.
Nah, and they say it in the Bible: "Come to the people as the people."
Yeah.
So if I make that clear distinction and decision in my approach, then it's much wider, the group that feels and connects to the purpose of the song. If I want to do something that is so narrow just because it has to be about this and for this purpose, that's fine. I've learned as a writer how to widen that, how to go back and evaluate myself, how to get away from what I originally intended and then get into, well, what is someone getting from this once it starts to play versus what I wanted them to pick up on, because that's rarely ever the same thing. Not just because of life, no matter what. Unless I do something that's stripped down acoustic, then you're forced to only deal with the timbre and the phrasing and the wordplay. It's almost impossible for somebody to get the thing that I want conveyed because it's all these other colors and sounds around. I'm like, oh, it's got to be the roundness and the fatness of this kick drum and the bass. Either I'm going to play it or somebody else is going to put this bottom end on it, and now you're humping. So you could get caught up in the groove equally as you could the wordplay or the sound of the voice. I'm not thinking about all that anymore because when I wrote the song, I needed to make sure it communicated the right words. When I recorded the song, I'm now editing and re-editing or going back and fixing this verse or this word or this vibrato so I can do what I think best serves the recording. It's not the song anymore. It's the recording. Because as I listen from start to finish, every time something pops out in my subconscious, I react to it and I go change it because it bumped me off the bus. And I'm thinking from now, the real critical music listener's ear standpoint, was that a cracked note right there? That could have been a beautifully cracked note. But it was also something in it that made me say, I could fix that. Let me go ahead and change that right quick. So I go and do all my little edits. And now the polishing shine with production and strings or additional keys or what have you. And we're no longer in that song that was just simply this thing that I wanted to share. So having to be aware of my process allows me greater awareness of how to get out of my own way. But I have to get fully immersed into my own way first. I got to get all in my own way first. Throw it all out there, put it all in there, and then listen back. I might smoke one. I might sit back. I'm driving because doing other things with the music on now informs me of the problems that exist in my production mind in the song. Either the connectivity of the information or I jumped to the falsetto too soon and I just threw the non-singers off because they might not be able to make that leap. So let me get you there versus just, all of a sudden we're doing high notes. And my wife would tell me that all the time. She's like, the falsetto, pretty and all, but we can't follow. And I'm like, what you mean? All you got to do is listen. And she's like, nah, we want to be the singer.
Yeah. They want to go sing it. That's true.
Thank you.
Because you can't sing that part, and one of the things that you talk about is the music, is the songwriting process. And people that are songwriters, I never ask a songwriter how they write a song. I might say, do you sit down at a keyboard or, you play a guitar, or did you just whatever. But I always tell people, I said, if you're blessed to be able to write a song, you can never describe where it comes from. You can tell you it comes from your soul. You can tell you it comes from God. But I said, when you finish a piece and you're finished with all the parts, you've mastered it down, and you go, I have no idea where all that comes from. It's a wonderful thing, but you can't explain it to people that don't understand it because they haven't got the gift to do that. And then when you go out, and this is one thing, especially independent artists, new ones I'm asking, when they just start out, I said, do people know your songs well enough to sing them to you in your performance?
Good question.
And when they do that, the face lights up and, oh yeah, they sing my song with me. I said, is there anything better than that? No. But I want to go back with you.
Okay.
Because you probably at one time decided, do I want to be an actor or do I want to be a musician?
That's so funny. This is a good question. This is a good interview. These are, this is a different approach. So I'm in Los Angeles and I'm out here hunting this music thing. Hunting it. I mean, if I see somebody step out of a executive looking BMW at the gas station next to you, next to somebody might just start singing in the background. I'm letting it be known. Vocals over here. Because the chance of running into the person that can change your circumstances exists. You
That's
don't know
right. You
when
never
and
know.
where,
You never
but
know.
it exists. So LA wasn't working in that regard. I actually ended up getting an offer for a management contract. I didn't realize the value, but I did understand the nature of the people who were involved. And there was some pushback there spiritually because who you align with and who you ride with, all of that matters. So you need
Yes,
to
it
make
does.
sure you're making the best choice for your life because it impacts other people around you,
Yep.
safety and all that. So now, another friend of mine who came to Los Angeles, and we're both from San Francisco, who's chasing a dream, is getting his acting, uh, you know, to manifest in different ways. And he's like,
Right.
come to this audition. So I go to his audition and I realize how simple it is. And I'm like, yo, I need to just jump in line as if the agent sent me to. But I didn't want to mess it up for him. So
Oh
I
yeah,
said,
yeah, yeah,
okay, let me go
yeah.
see the agent. So I went to see the agent. She was like, yeah, I like you look. Um, let me send you out on a read. So I go out on my own audition and I get the commercial. I'm not surprised. I fit the bill. It was Schlitz Malt Liquor Bull.
Oh my.
Things are things are back to the way they were. It was all I had to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
And then I learned a lot on that set because, you have to deliver. And it's not us talking now. It's be in character, be on time, say your word flawless, look in the right direction, do the action. But none of that was given to us until the moment we have to do it. So it was like,
Right.
oh, this is a bigger awareness. But after I got the commercial and people started to recognize me when it came out, I was like, I don't want acting to be the reason. Because at the time, actors were not respected, quote unquote, as musician. Musician could do the acting, but the actor
But
who's
not the other way around.
not the other way around. Lauryn Hill was one of the first to break through in the younger generation to where that just wasn't so much of an issue. However, she still was out first with her music. You know what I mean? So I made a conscious decision to thwart the acting opportunities as they started to ramp up. And hindsight is 2020, but that was my optic on it. I wanted people to understand that me as a writer and a creator who could write his own characters and probably shoot and direct his own films was the guy, not somebody that was made up somewhere and presented to you as the guy. I needed
Yeah,
people to
yeah.
understand who I was.
Oh, yeah. And I think that um, you would have probably not fulfilled what you wanted to do. You would have probably
Probably
been
not.
really good at it because you just said you probably could be good at it. There was a gap, and didn't you kind of give up from what read or something about music for a while, or had a gap in your career? Did I get that wrong, or did I see that wrong, or said something about you
It's not
kind of
that
went
it's right
away?
or it's not that it's right or wrong. It's this.
Well, I'm not
I'm
saying you were
out.
right or wrong. I'm just
No,
saying
no,
what.
no. It's not what you're saying is right or wrong, but just to fill in some details. There are things that happen in life, and most of them are out of our control. In
Mhm.
this particular case, I'm coming back from touring with the Roots. Well, I'm no longer touring with the Roots. The movie happens, and I was just about to leave New York and come back to the West Coast anyhow, for a few reasons. One, it was two apartments, so I couldn't keep them both going, and two, my older brother was on a life slide. He was sliding down
Mm.
dark fast. And so after the film is filmed, there's no real clear plan or path for it to be released because Sony is going to do something different now, and now Julie Taymor has to fight in order to get this thing to actually make it into theaters, not get shelved. No major anchor star. Whoever was riding for her over the studios, maybe they changed to another position. So she was out there on her own trying to figure it out. I'm back in California, and my brother is on that slide, and shortly thereafter he dies.
Mm.
My father is taking ill dementia, and it's
Mm.
getting stronger and stronger. And so the family business is falling into unstable territory. And then within a few years, he passes. So I couldn't get back out with the Roots, even though they had reached back out saying, hey, we back on it, even though they had the Tonight Show at this time, because I couldn't leave California.
Yeah.
Not comfortably, because all the time I was out there freewaying, as I called it, I knew that there was a home to go to and that there was a foundation somewhere in case everything went kaput. But as opposed to me ascending into superstardom somewhere and never ever having to go back, I ain't going back to that one horse town. None of that manifested. I ended up needing to come back home, and home needed me to come back home. So when I got back home, I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to figure out how to start and more or less transmit my affairs musically from here.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a good 10-year, situation from at least 2007 to 2000, 15-ish. But I say that I put out singles, and I actually released an album, Love is the Hero, one of my best works ever. And I never got a chance to tour it because it was like I got too much music in me brewing. I needed to release a project.
Mm-hmm.
We needed to keep the train still marching, even though I'm more or less stuck in Northern California. And now it's a few years later, things have been settled with regard to family business and affairs. And proudly, I'm the steward to my mother's affairs business wise. But I'm also back on the machine, pushing the new music. And I can't come with a record of just a collection of singles. I need to come with something that has meaning to me,
Sure.
to my life, and to what's going on in the world, because I'm largely, my prose is extracted from what the world composes.
I think that's true of everybody, but I think going back to what you said was, and you're not doing this braggadocious, but you're just saying you're a really good human being. Because you could have easily said, yeah, my brother's gone, my dad's gone, I want a music career. I'll call you I'll be in Paris this weekend on a tour, I'll be in London tomorrow. Tell the kids I said hi. And you didn't do that.
Mm-mm.
And it kind of reminds me of the old movie, It's a Wonderful Life, where Jimmy Stewart had the chance to go out and make his way, and he kept staying at home.
Right.
You did the same thing. You won't be honored. You won't be rewarded. You're rewarded in a completely different way. So you're not going to sit down and go, well, gee, I helped my brother, hopefully, or I helped my dad. Oh, look, I'm on the Tonight Show, jamming with the Roots. Jimmy's coming over and going, hey, come on over and sit down at the couch for a while. No, that's not what's going to happen to you. What you're going to get is here.
Mm-hmm.
And then when that happens here, your music then goes out.
Mm-hmm.
And all those things that you've lived through, and probably to me, I think is, I can't imagine my dad died at 20. My mom lived to be 103. Talk about a dichotomy.
Wow.
But when that happens to you, you have to, something changes in you, but then you have to realize that you've been given this opportunity, but then on the other side, like, well, am I given this opportunity? I got to come home and take care of everything. I got to take care of business. That says more about you, my friend, at the end of the day, than it does about
I hear
anything.
you. It's about my father,
Obviously, he
and
was, you really looked up to him. So,
oh yeah, he was solid. We weren't even the best of friends in any sort of the imagination. We definitely weren't enemies, but it was more like a stern dude who laid down the law,
yeah.
and if you violate, it's at your own peril. So now that we got that established, what else is good? You know what I mean? Well, you
Yeah.
figure it out. And if you're gonna go for it, it's not like he won't help you. But if he doesn't know the land, then it's not like he can really give you too much insight. So you're pretty much on your own. Good luck, and let me know. Don't get into trouble, because if you call here from the police station, I'm hanging up the phone. And I'll be damned if I didn't call from South Carolina, Lexington County. And boy, did he not hang up the phone. I mean, he made sure he could hear me clearly. You calling from where? Click. And he was in law enforcement. Now, I called right back, and thankfully my brother was over at the house, and he answered the phone. And then from there, it didn't change much because I was still stuck. But at least somebody knew where I was. You know what I mean? But yeah, this guy, the way he was concerned about community and the way that he looked after my mom and the way that he was in the world was very unique, and he was a one of one. So not only did he name me after somebody else who was famous, which I just
Yes,
could not
obviously. Yeah, I knew that.
stand, hated it. I've hated it since I've ever been learning about somebody else way more famous that had all these other reasons to be proclaimed other than my own name. I'm like, why couldn't you just give me my own name? So now I want to get my own name. I want to cut this Martin Luther out of my whole life. And I never was able to shake it. So I embraced it at some point, and then I added my last name because my first few records were under the name Martin Luther. McCoy was brought into it when Julie Taymor and the Across the Universe film happened. And the main reason was because I knew my father would get a chance to see the film. And if he saw his last name flash across the screen, that would just be something very special. He's the first generation of McCoy based on my grandmother's choosing a last name other than the person who was the biological donor. And because of a violent act, my father was born. So she adopted the name McCoy and placed it on his spirit, and he rolled with it. So I would be the first, offspring, my older brother, my older sister, and myself. And therefore, I wanted him to see that. Now, by doing it, it also twisted up the business of music and my relationship because now there's a Martin Luther and a Martin Luther McCoy
Right.
who both have music out.
Right.
And so I just kept my last name because it also clarifies all the search engine optimization issue if you add my last name.
Did he see the movie?
Oh, yeah, he saw it.
So you were a card. You got your name up at the beginning or at the end? It was you were up there because you're one of the top 4 in that show. I think I was looking at.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading your you have a great description on IMDb.
No, I need to go see what they're saying. It's all lies, I'm sure.
Let's talk about your new project before we get off.
Welcome back, love. Oh, yeah.
So tell me what you want to do with it and tell me all about it.
All about it. Well, you can only get one of these if you get it from me. And boy, is it something to see as well as the artwork that's inside.
I love that. I have one back here behind me from an artist I interviewed last year. And I was on X this morning talking to a gal that does a lot of talk about music. And we were talking about vinyl.
Okay.
And why? I mean, because I know it's expensive. I interviewed here in Dallas. There's a vinyl producer, and we had a conversation. I had no idea. I mean, I grew up back in the days, 33s, 45s. My parents had 78s. I've seen all the things changed on production.
Yeah.
And we talked about the difference in mastering versus vinyl versus CD versus. I had no idea that went on.
Oh, yeah.
And then he told me about the process. I mean, I knew how the plastic and all that stuff came out. Why did you decide? What do you think? Why did you decide, other than holding something you can go instead of going, hey, I'm on Spotify? I mean, I understand that as an artist. That's why you can hold it up and show people.
Exactly. Well, the thing about this is, as a collector item, this artwork is is just a piece of the design that was created by a friend of mine, Pierre Benoit, and given to my wife and I when we got married. And it's a Black Madonna image. It's similar to this, but it has a crown and the heart in the hand. My graphic designer, Tom Torres, saw, and he was like, hey, I know what we need to do. And so he whipped out the whole campaign, and I was like, this is official. So it's a way for me to weave and blend that light weaving again of energy, because everybody is in favor of this happening. The record needs to be something that is monumental in what it's presenting musically, but it has to say something or speak to the time in a way that is hopefully undefeatable. Those are the things that I map out as targets. Welcome back, love. Love is the hero. These are statements that cannot be unplugged or blanket thrown over them like, oh, that was then, but this is now. These are eternal in my mind. So with that, the sound of the record is more of a hybrid. I'm in the studio now. I'm working through analog gear, and I have a penchant for the creative, which a CD is limited in what it can avail me as an artist to communicate to any listener or supporter of my work. But in this case, the artwork is also custom, and it can open up and you can see a double-sided presentation. So I had to figure out things like that that would engage me if I were the person purchasing this. And being that I'm an artist who I was created by vinyl, if we want to be specific. The putting the the rubber band with a nickel on top of the stylus, the record player. Not knowing anything about counterbalancing at the time, the turntable was too cheap. Knowing about static and having to get that fuzz out of there, knowing that if you don't put that nickel on it, the needle's just going to slide all the way over to the middle. Not knowing about the groove and the depth. So now mapping out the album, it took some reworking, because if I wanted that deep bass and that thump and that feeling, then I couldn't have 20 tracks, or I'm going to have 3 vinyl platters. So we trimmed the album down to 15. We did the best job sequencing so that you could put something on, flip over, and then journey to the other side of the part 2, side C and then side D. So you have a journey physically in your hand, something that you can listen to that takes you somewhere. And then as you hopefully venture further into my creative realm, you're going to find that this was just a gateway to get you to realize that there are options and alternatives. Because like what you said, I believe that love and that yearning is missing from the airwaves. It's not out there in abundance the way that it was, that produced so many of us. So many of us were created by soul music.
So how are you supporting this? I mean, the day the world is, used to be, this, get an album, you go out on tour. You mentioned a while ago you couldn't support one of the albums. What are you doing now? Tell me how you're going to support it.
I'm talking to Rick Troutman today. Trust and believe it's going to just, reverberate in the airwaves and the podcasts and into the spheres of different music societies and cultures. And, you have to believe. I have no idea the amazing ways in which the universe is already conspiring on my behalf. What I do know is that because of that belief, and because I've taken these steps, and because I'm over here loading up these, I'm putting these together right now as I talk to you before I go get to the airport to go out to do some shows. Martha's Vineyard coming up this week.
Oh, cool.
I have to march. I can't, some people could just probably say something and put it on the computer and put it out on Instagram and boom, more money, more money. For me, this is a message that is up against all of the nonsense, the frivolity, the evil, the menacing nature that is the proverbial chatter in entertainment these days. I'm up against all of it. And I'm one man that's, in my mind, I'm bad enough to go against all of it. But I'm not saying, hey, all of it, bring it on. I'm saying, hey, Martin, bring it on. And I'm bringing it on.
Well,
so I'm the rock that's going to be tossed into that audience at full speed, and it's going to hit who it's supposed to.
I think there's no doubt in my mind that when people see you perform live, that will change a lot of their minds too.
Well, they need encouragement. You need encouragement.
Yeah,
I'm here to encourage.
Yeah, I think that people like you is why I do this. My job is to expose people like you, even though you made it in a movie, you made all this thing and all this stuff. At the end of the day, you got to have people listen to your music.
You do. You got to have somebody that cares. And there's no way for me to get you to care or to get on your radar by just transmitting from my command center at home. I got to get out in front of people. Plus, this is a contact sport.
Yes, it is.
And what I do, you need to be in the room to hear and to witness in order to testify. Or else I got to put a lot of visual stuff out there that can really be attractive to the eyes and ears. But there's something about me that really wants to give you the authentic, pure, uncut version. And that means no electronics, no smoke and mirrors, pure heart and soul.
Well, that's it for this episode of The Trout Show. Thanks so much for stopping by and listening to this episode with the wonderfully talented Martin Luther McCoy. Big shout out to him for coming on and talking to me and telling me everything that's been going on. What a great person he is as far as what's been going on. He was an actor, went to help his family, came back to music, and a very talented guy. So thanks, Martin, for coming by, and we appreciate it. For more information about Martin, all you got to do is go to his website, Martin Luther McCoy. One word, martinluthermccoy.com. You find out everything about him. In fact, his new music is out. Support him because he's a great artist to get to know and listen to. Big shout out to the guy that keeps the lights on all the time, Mr. David Smith with Everett Jones. Thank you, David, for once again keeping these lights on here at The Trout Show. And for more information about The Trout Show, you know where you got to go. TheTroutShow.com. Just ask my website and you can find everything you need to know. All the episodes that I've done, whether they're on YouTube or a podcast, my music. And once again, I want to tell you, I got some great artists and interesting people coming up in the near future. So until next time, people, you know what I always say. It's only rock and roll, but I really like it. See ya.